What's up guys, Jaden Irwin here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is part 6 of the Sapling crash course. So if you're following along, that's awesome. If you need to catch up, go ahead and do that. This part, I know we talked about like the next parts of this was working on design, but really what I realized as I've been working with Sapling more is there's a couple of opportunities of improvement for, I think, adoption, but also for maintenance for Sapling. So as I was working on new features, I realized that I was reinventing Hono in a lot of ways. And it's mostly because Hono is such a great framework when it comes to routing and its approach to how to handle backend routing. So really the decision that I made in the most recent release of Sapling, the 0.6.0 release that just went out, is that I'm just going to tell people to use Hono for your routing. Use Sapling for the actual layout and the cool features that include Tailwind through Uno CSS and the islands and those types of things. So it's still a framework, but it's more like a meta framework in that sense that it's built on top of existing frameworks like Hono. And the cool thing about Sapling's layout is it is still compatible with Express or Fastify, whatever router you want to use, you can still use that. But what we're going to walk through in this quick tutorial is how to upgrade to that 0.6.0 release. So if you've been following along, this should be pretty straightforward. And something that I haven't mentioned yet too is that because we're fully embracing Hono as the foundation for Sapling like projects, we are just going to enable JSX, meaning you don't have to choose to use the HTML template tags. That's actually a piece of feedback that I've gotten, is that the HTML template tags, they're nice because you're just writing HTML in them, but they can be frustrating sometimes because JSX solves a lot of the things that these template tags cause, is needing to escape characters outside of those template tags and just usual things that you would run into if you have worked with template tags on the back end before. That's the cool thing, is you can use the HTML import that's going to be from Hono, or you can just use JSX from Hono as well, which is pretty cool. And there's more documentation on that incoming, more examples incoming as well, but we're just going to walk through it right now, converting this existing project to Hono for the routing, and we're also going to convert it to JSX as well, so you can see how that would work. So let's do Dino add JSR. We're going to upgrade Sapling. This should upgrade us to, the 0.6.0. And there you go, we get an error right away. Hey, this is gone, right? The HTML import. This could be replaced with @Hono /Hono HTML. We're going to add that. So Dino add JSR. Hono is on JSR now. So that's the import that I would recommend for most cases, especially if you're using Dino. So do that Dino add JSR @Hono /Hono. And there you go, you get that import working right away. So it's just a one-to-one replacement, import HTML from @Hono /Hono HTML. But what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go over to our sidebar here. And let's go to the Dino.json. So you can see we've got our imports here, @Hono, @Sapling. Everything else will still work. The Sapling markdown package, like nothing's really broken. The main thing that you're going to have to fix is because we're now deprecating Sapling as a router, you just have to replace that. And that's a really simple replacement. So you're going to do import Hono from Hono, and then we're going to, because Sapling worked a lot like Hono, it's a very simple replacement. So context is a type, Hono, and then we're going to do const site equals new Hono. And we could replace that. I'm just going to do a quick rename symbol to app. That's just Hono's typical way of doing things, const app equals new Hono. And then all of that still works. The other thing that we need to fix is this serve static right here. Let me get rid of this sidebar here. So serve static we need to fix. And that is a very simple import. Import serve static from @Hono. And then it's not the serve static itself, but it's based on the runtime for Hono. So we're using Dino in this case, so it's going to be @/Dino. and then you've got serve static right there. And once again, because I was building everything so similarly to Hono, it just works. So you're just fixing imports at that point. So let's go ahead and try to run the app. We're probably going to get some errors still for imports on that HTML template tag. So yeah, right there on our base dot head. There we go, Hono HTML. And then this one, we're going to remove that, still keeping the layout import. We're going to replace the HTML import. And let's get rid of the same thing there. Very simple, just fixing some imports. Home.ts, same thing, at Hono/HTML, still importing layout from the base layout. And then on the home page, or the about page, excuse me, same thing again. Cursor, I'm just tabbing right now. So pretty straightforward. We're just going through there, fixing these. HTML and raw are from the same import. So that raw that we used for the markdown files, it's the same thing. You can see that Sapling was very similar to Hono. So instead of reinventing the wheel, we are just going to embrace the fact that Hono is a fantastic framework. So cool. I think we're really close here. We've got maybe just a couple left. Let's go to our local host. And there you go. We've got everything running. We can go to the blog, open a blog page. Fantastic. One thing I will mention, so if we go to the layout, this stream true, it no longer technically works the way that it did with the Sapling router. We were doing kind of some fancy things under the hood for that to work. So technically this stream is just, it's not doing anything. There are ways to return a stream from the Sapling layout still, but I think going forward, I'm going to tweak that a little bit. So expect some changes around streams in the next versions of Sapling. So you're really not going to notice much difference between streaming the response or just a regular response in most cases. The only times that you're really going to want that is if you have a super large page that you probably should pre-render that page anyways. But yeah, you can see that everything's working. Our about page, our blog, our markdown from the blog is working great. So all of that is, yeah, working just fine. Our copy code from our previous videos, working great. Now, because I did mention that we don't have to use the HTML template tagging system or the template language system, we actually can use JSX. And to do that, so let me kill the server and go to our dino.json. And this is a somewhat newer option for Dino where you can actually do this JSX precompile. And this JSX precompile, what it does, it precompiles the strings that get returned from JSX to like HTML strings. So it's just like a ahead of time optimization or precompilation, right? And you can learn more about that if you search for Dino JSX precompile. You'll see it in the Dino documentation. I'll leave a link in the description below. You can learn more about that. But this precompiled transform, it's really cool because it potentially can be 7 to 20 times faster than React JSX transforms. So yeah, just a huge optimization by choosing to use the Dino precompile option. And what we're going to do here for our JSX import source, that's going to be at Hono/Hono JSX. And there you go. Now we have JSX support. So this is really cool because now we can go to our like Sapling logo file, right? This is just a SVG. What we're going to do is change this to TSX. Let me fix that. Shouldn't be capitalized. Oh, I've got caps lock on. So we'll fix that, sapling logo.tsx, and then we're going to go to our agent. And let's say convert this to JSX. and it will probably understand that pretty simply, right? This just needs to be converted from using HTML template tags to JSX. And if that takes a while, that's okay. We can just do it manually. Going to remove the HTML template literal. Let's just stop that. Delete that. And then we're going to go here. You can get rid of those $signs. One of the most annoying things about the HTML template tags is all the $signs that you end up writing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's format this. Just like that. And that is valid TSX or JSX that we can just use. So let's go to the layout. This is one of the cool things too, is you can actually continue to use the HTML template tags and template literals with JSX. So if you have specific components that would just be easier to write with TSX, you can just go and turn that on with Dino and then just start using interchangeably. You can use those TSX components. So what we're going to do is go to the home and we're going to convert this one. And this one is pretty straightforward. It's just going to be return layout. And we don't want to get rid of the children aspect, but we still want it to be a valid JSX. Let's import layout. Let's go down here. And this is going to be a parenthesis. Get rid of the HTML import. Format document. Let's get rid of that. And then it's not really an async anymore. Hono JSX handles the asynchronous parts, which is really cool. So you can just do export function home, return, and this looks a lot like a React component, right? So this is a server-side JSX function. So just like you would expect anything in here, this is server-side logic. And then this is client-side logic, right? So this is server-side, this is client-side. Really cool that you can just have, you don't have to deal with RSCs, you don't have to deal with all the kind of headaches that some of React's server-side things add. I've been hearing more on Twitter. That's been frustrating for people. So this is a very simple system to have JSX on the server. So we're going to do the same thing on the about page. And Cursor probably is going to figure this out pretty fast, just like that. Now, because this is TSX, not HTML, we can actually go to our index file and we can turn this into TSX. And that does mean that we need to go update our scripts. Right, so our dev command is going to run the TSX command. And if we go to our index, we can import, we can actually just use about like a component, which is pretty cool, right? And then we can go to home, blog, we will still need to fix. So let's go to blog index.tsx. So the title equals post.title, description equals post.excerpt, and then the head is going to end right here. So this is what I wanted to show. You can, this head equals, you can use the HTML template tags for the head of this layout or of this particular page and inject HTML into the head tag, which is really useful, right? So you could still, you're going to want to use HTML template tags for certain things. This would be a great example of where that would be useful. And then we're going to go back down here and end our layout component. So you can see that this slug page for the blog converted to TSX is pretty straightforward. So let's do export async function, blog post. Let's go back to our main. And Cursor is picking up on all of that. So params, we can switch that to a blog post component. And now let's just go ahead and run this and see if everything works as we would expect. There's a $sign in there because we forgot to get rid of that $sign for the Sapling logo. Sapling logo is now JSX, so we can convert that. You can see that I just tabbed on it. If we refresh, there goes that $sign. The about page looks great. The blog page, there's $sign in there as well. We can fix that. Just get rid of it right there. And you can see that it's picking up that we're getting rid of the HTML templates. Our picture tag most likely needs updated. And we can actually, after I post this video, I will submit like a JSX version of this picture function that we used in previous videos. But what we can do is actually just literally go and copy this source. So you can see that I command clicked on picture. This is the source code for the picture tag. Feel free to watch the blog part if you want to learn about that. But let's add a new component called picture.tsx. I'm going to paste this in, and this is going to be very similar. But we're going to do export default function, and we're switching to JSX in this case. Okay. And let's fix these comments. Okay. You can see cursors coming in handy here for completing a lot of this conversion. Format. Okay. If the format worked, we're probably pretty close. So let's go back over to the blog. We're going to go up here, import picture from components picture, get rid of our HTML import. Cool. So that's looking better. Looks like we've still got some $signs to get rid of. Okay. Same thing. We'll get rid of that import. And then on the blog page, it looks like we've still got, yep, some $signs. Okay. Cool. Now let's go to the blog individual page. Get rid of the $sign. So we were missing a slash there. Let's fix that there as well. So there you go. We are fully converted, just like that. That's, what has this been? Just a few minutes. And we're converted fully over to TSX for our components and our pages. The layout can actually stay as HTML. And there's probably a few reasons why you'd want to do that. The main reason would most likely be the head tag. Could get a little bit messy trying to do that in JSX, trying to inject things. You still could do it, but in my personal preferences, I like the base layout to stay HTML. Very simple. You can import the Sapling layout. There are ways to make this work right out of the box as JSX. That's fine. But in our case, we're just going to leave the layout as HTML, and the not found layout, it's imported from Sapling as well. So it's the same sort of thing. It is just HTML. But yeah, feel free to play around with it. Hopefully you guys are interested in JSX and what that could mean for Sapling's adoption. But yeah, going forward, Sapling is going to support JSX and support HTML template tags, both interchangeably. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Feel free to follow along. The next version, or the next part of this series, we're going to talk more about islands. I know that was promised in the last video, but I think this one was important to really just show like we're moving forward on Hono as a base and then JSX as a template language that you can use. So thanks for following along, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Peace.